For a moment there, the camera hold up. Hello, what's up, everybody? What is good on the internet? What's good on life? Real Sports Talk Network. Akeem Balaam, LI495.
Talking about a lot of NFL free agent signings and a lot of stuff going on in the NFL. Now, of course, you may know me if you watch my videos on here as the host of 10 Minutes on the Clock, which is a name that I come up with. I do that every Saturday morning and afternoons. But this may actually be a little bit less than 10 minutes or whatever. So, but anyways, let's get right to it. NFL free agency, lot of stuff going on, and really. Is it safe to say that a lot of this stuff that's happening in the NFL right now with free agency is really being spurred on by one man because of Peyton Manning? Everybody thinks that they can get Peyton Manning. Everybody and their mother and their mother's cousin, if they got a quarterback problem or if they got a quarterback controversy, they think that they can get Peyton Manning. And one of those teams that thinks that they have a real shot to land the sheriff number 18 is the Miami Dolphins. Many have them as the favorite, even though I think they need to go to Arizona. But Miami is one of those teams, and Miami made a rather controversial move today, trading away Brandon Marshall to the Chicago Bears for 2 third-round draft picks. Now, one may say, come again, because you may think with as great a receiver as Brandon Marshall has been to Pro Bowls, why would you trade Brandon Marshall for such low value? Not only the fact that he would be a great receiver for Peyton Manning to throw to, but why would you trade him virtually for nothing? 2 third-rounders for Brandon Marshall? I think Brandon Marshall's got to feel a little bit deossed at the thought that Stephen Ross, the owner of the Miami Dolphins, would just basically trade him away to Chicago for essentially nothing. It reunites Jay Cutler and Brandon Marshall, who of course were teammates when they were on the Denver Broncos, another team who has a shot to land Manning. But Brandon Marshall, I think, a little bit inside, even though now he's in Chicago and they have a legitimate shot to go to the playoffs next year to the Bears, Brandon Marshall's got to feel a little bit dissed inside that the Dolphins essentially traded him for nothing. Now, there was something out there that I looked up. You may figure, why would they want to trade away Brandon Marshall? You think Brandon Marshall would be part of a marketing pitch for the Miami Dolphins if they want to go ahead and try and land Peyton Manning, because he's a receiver. They may try to, there's also a Reggie Wayne element to this. But here's the story that I supposedly read. Peyton Manning is meeting in Miami with Dolphins brass. He's meeting with Stephen Ross. He's meeting with everybody down there in South Florida. Supposedly taking his negotiating talents down to South Beach. But there was a report out there that said that one of the things that perhaps Peyton Manning was complaining about when it came to wanting to sign with the Miami Dolphins was Brandon Marshall. So maybe he feels that perhaps Brandon Marshall is somewhat of a head case. Maybe he has problems. Maybe he'll cause problems in the locker room. So maybe that's what Peyton Manning told the Dolphins brass. And of course, Brandon Marshall's word is not anywhere near, even as great of a receiver as he is not anywhere near as valuable as is Peyton Manning's word. Brandon Marshall is about here. Peyton Manning, right here. If you can see me. Right here. So that's the story that's going around, that perhaps Peyton Manning sort of told the Miami Dolphins, you know what, that Brandon Marshall, he's a talented receiver, but he may cause some problems, so get rid of him. And they just basically traded him away for a hill of beans. Moving on to other news and notes and happenings around the league outside of the Brandon Marshall trade news is also Pierre Garcon. He signed a 5-year deal worth $42.5 million from the Washington Redskins. Typical Dan Snyder. Now let me spell this out to you right now. Pierre Garcon. Some consider him perhaps, and his numbers when he was in Indianapolis, inflated because Manning was throwing to him all the time, and he had him as his quarterback. But reportedly, the terms of this deal were that Pierre Garcon went ahead and signed a 5-year deal worth $42.5 million with $21.5 of that money guaranteed. So either way, even if he gets cut, obviously, he's still going to get paid $21.5 million out of the 42. So that's essentially half of the contract. When you lay it out, it's basically half of the contract when you do the math all right. This is a typical Dan Snyder signing. Now, one may think that his numbers are going to drop. They're going to drop. Obviously, they're going to drop one way or another,
because, you're going from Peyton Manning to either Rex Grossman or even RG3, Robert Griffin III, who they're obviously going to draft. I mean, that's why they moved up to get that second pick from the Rams. But his numbers are going to drop, and the fact that he's being paid $42.5 million from the Washington Redskins, this just shows you that is a typical Dan Snyder signing. I mean, this guy, Dan Snyder, you got to remember, this guy, he throws money around. He feels like that he's the mint. Like he is the NFL mint or their version of the Treasury. He prints money out of his you-know-what, and he showed it again, signing Pierre Garcon, of all people, to a $42.5 million deal. Again, I think he's overpaying for Pierre Garcon because his numbers may be a product of the fact that he had Peyton Manning throwing to him. But hey, Pierre Garcon's getting paid. I ain't hating. Good job, Pierre Garcon. Good luck in Washington. And whoever your quarterback is, it may even cause somewhat of a quarterback controversy in Washington if Robert Griffin III is able to show his stuff, because even though Rex Grossman, you got to remember one thing about Rex Grossman, even though, they did beat the New York Giants, the eventual Super Bowl champs last year, but you got to remember, there's always this Jekyll and Hyde almost thing with Rex Grossman, and he can go from good to bad just like that. I mean, Chicago Bears fans saw it up close and personal when he was playing in that Super Bowl, and some say that he had arguably one of the worst games of his career, of his professional career, in that Super Bowl versus the Indianapolis Colts. So that's what I think about that signing. Also, moving on, Marques Colston, one of Drew Brees' most important targets, he also signed himself a big deal re-upping. Instead of going after free agency, he also signed a big-time deal with the New Orleans Saints. The details of that contract, as a matter of fact, he signed for 5 years as well, and I think he also got himself a $40-some-odd million contract, and that's a big-time signing. But of course, he's one of Drew Brees' most important targets. The Saints are competing. It sort of takes the focus somewhat off of all this Bountygate mess that's going on with the New Orleans Saints right now. But he signed a new deal. He got his new deal with the New Orleans Saints as well. So those are some signings that are going on in the NFL, and also a lot of free agent stuff. Really, the few teams that are in on the Peyton Manning sweepstakes, that's what's driving their free agents markets. That's what's driving their war rooms, if they will. That's what's driving their accounting books right now. So those are some free agent stuff going on with the NFL. Gotta get my words right, because this is somewhat of an impromptu video. So once again, what do you think? Real Sports Talk Network and all the fans out there, everybody out there, what you think? Brandon Marshall, is it a surprising fact that he would go and be traded to the Chicago Bears when the Dolphins are seemingly so in on all the Peyton Manning stuff, and also the Pierre Garcon signing in particular? Also, did he get overpaid by the Washington Redskins? I think that's a pretty easy question to answer, but I want to know what you think. I mean, the Washington Redskins would probably overpay you and me if we were on a contract. If we were signing Dan Snyder, maybe I should call him up right now and get me some dough, show what I can do on the field, which is not much. But hey, he'll overpay me. He'll probably overpay you. Maybe you should go ahead and sign a contract with him as well. So what you think? Once again, rate, comment, rap, reply, add, and subscribe. Look forward to reading your comments as always and talking with you about all the free agent stuff going on in the NFL, and of course, waiting to see where Peyton Manning will end up. So until next time, I'm just one guy talking about nothing. Real Sports Talk Network, Akeem Balaam, LI495. See you on the internet someplace.